All right, now a little touch of the Epstein files here for you. Melinda Gates responded to the fact that Bill Gates is all over the Epstein files, and Jeffrey Epstein wrote this email to himself, which was like laying out the blackmail scheme that he had against Bill Gates, where he talks about how, hey, I'm the one that gave you the antibiotics for the Russian hookers that gave you the clap, and then you tried to sneak them to your wife. And so TMZ has this video of Melinda Gates reacting to that. Take a look.
I think we're having a reckoning as a society, right? No girl should ever be put in the situation that they were put in by Epstein and whatever was going on with all of the various people around him. No girl. I mean, it's beyond heartbreaking, right? I remember being those ages those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, right? So, for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage. But I have moved on from that. I purposely pushed it away and I moved on. I'm in a really unexpected, beautiful place in my life. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
Well,
and I am so happy to be away from all the muck.
I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles.
Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life. And I hope there's some justice for those now women, right? We see them standing up in front of microphones in D.C. What they went through is just unimaginable.
So what I love in that clip is that what she's describing there is what I've personally seen anecdotally with all the women who get divorces in my life, is that you ask them how they're doing, they're like, I'm doing fucking great. I love everything. I wake up every day with a big smile on my face. I can't wait to get the day started, and fuck that motherfucker. I'm good over here. He's got problems. You want to ask him about that shit. Don't ask me about that shit. I'm minding my damn business, loving life. Like every woman who's ever gotten divorced that I've seen reacts like that.
Yeah, I've seen that many times myself. She gives off that energy too of like, I'm living my best life. I never knew life could be so good, et cetera, et cetera. She's obviously, says the right things about being deeply sad for the victims and wanting justice and accountability. But I mean, it's got to be crazy to see this stuff in writing, And I wonder, do you think she knew about this whole thing with him?
That's what I was thinking, is I'm like, well, because she left him how many years ago? I mean, it was a while ago. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what did she know at the time that was so significant that she felt like, I got to get out of this marriage? Because
it was over him that they broke up.
I know it was over Epstein, but I'm like, so what did she maybe know more than what we know right now about the relationship between Bill and Epstein, to where she was like, this is so grotesque that I can't even be around this guy
I'm sure
anymore.
Bill was hiding from her, the big things. But just the fact that, I'm sure she knows. He goes, oh yeah, I'm going on a poker trip with my friends. And she's like, sure you are, right? I'm sure there were many instances where she's like, I know he's with that motherfucker.
I mean, but that's the thing too, is like, I don't remember all the details, but my recollection is that she had told him, like, I don't want you spending time with this man.
Right.
And then he would sneak around to do it. So even if you don't know all of the details of the Russian hooker and now you're getting slipped
antibiotics,
antibiotics,
something weird going on here.
If your husband is sneaking off to see a convicted pedophile against your, that is sufficient
Which also,
grounds for divorce right there.
It also lends credence to the notion of a potential blackmail scheme or whatever. Maybe there was something going on between Epstein and Bill, that Bill was sort of afraid to fully cut ties with him. So
absolutely,
because what else would you have been doing? You were so enamored with Jeff Epstein that you had to keep hanging out with him. He was so fun or what. Like, if it's not some really shady shit that we're talking about here, then what other justification
You were
would there
willing
be?
to blow up your marriage
Yeah.
to continue spending time with this man. And I mean, but that's what comes out in this email from Epstein, because clearly the subtext of it is that Gates was trying to pull away from the relationship. And Epstein, who comes, I mean, you see in this how manipulative he is. He's like, oh, well, if I was in your shoes, here's what I would do. And by the way, here's some of the things that I've done for you, like, getting you these antibiotics to slip to your wife and things I know about you that maybe you should consider. So I think that's absolutely correct, is that clearly, it's entirely possible Melinda was like, all right, what the fuck? You got to cut him off. Bill's like, okay, you're right. I will. Tries to do it. And then Epstein pulls this on him, and, no sympathy for Bill Gates in this. He's still a big boy, could still make his own decisions, didn't have to get involved in any of this to begin with. But then is like, oh, shit, this is going to ruin my whole marriage. I guess I got to keep, trying to sneak around to see Jeffrey Epstein so I can keep it all together. It's a crazy set of circumstances. And this is, at that time, he was literally the richest man on the planet, and still having to, having Jeffrey Epstein be actually more in the power position with him.
It's amazing how easy it is to manipulate unfuckable dweebs, Like, just a little taste of fucking female attention and a little taste of, a guy who's like, oh, he's cooler than me, bro. Look, he wears a leather jacket and he's got a chet and stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got an island. Ooh, look at him. It's like the equivalent of, like, the jock in high school, and, you have Bill Gates and, like, Stephen Hawking looking up to Epstein like, oh, he's so smooth with the ladies. It's like,
Elon.
they're fucking sex slaves,
Elon,
you idiot.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, Elon, yeah. Man, imagine being so annoying to even the pedophile
Jeffrey
cabal of
Epstein
billionaires
doesn't want you
that they're
around
like,
you. Yeah.
You're the richest man in
we're
the
full
planet.
on the
and they're
island
like,
right now, homie.
"Yes, I'm sorry. We're just not going to be there at that time.
Yeah, our bad.
Next, we'll get you next time." Yeah. Who was it? We were listening to somebody who was saying that, you have this network, this cabal of elites, and they're all snakes. Right, and they're all in it for their own self-interest. And they all know that about each other, but they're also in this club. And so the way that you establish some facsimile of quote-unquote trust is through these depraved acts. And so it's sort of like mutually assured destruction.
Like an initiation kind of.
Somebody
Yes,
said,
that's the the glue that kind of keeps it together, is because you have this, they know this about you and you know this about them, and so everybody's gonna fucking keep their mouth shut.
somebody said, think of it like a frat. And the more exclusive the frat, the more extreme the initiation rituals are. Where, a lower level frat might make you, like, I don't know, piss in a sock and put it on or something. And the higher level frat
very creative,
is like,
babe.
you got to run around naked around the track 7 times when it's 12 degrees outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, this functions similar to that, where it literally is a pedophile cabal of elite billionaires. And to some of them are into shit is as extreme as like cannibalism and torture. There's so many references to torture in the emails. And yeah, to your point, that's the glue that binds them together. It's like secret societies. The Zodiac is one they talked about in there. Like secret societies, and they have these extreme rituals, if you will. But I also think some of them are just genuinely sadistic and perverted in like the worst way possible.
Absolutely. I mean, we were watching Joe Rogan and Mike Benz. Is that his name?
Mike Benz, yeah.
And
We were not watching that. We were watching the video about that. I wouldn't
Correct.
fucking ever watch a full Joe Rogan episode with Mike Benz. Fuck out of here.
Anyway, Benz was saying this thing of like, well, I don't really buy the blackmail part because because the first time that anyone was like, oh, he blackmailed me, then his whole thing would be, all his access and everything would be ruined. And it's like, that is so incredibly naive.
What an idiot.
Because, yeah, they all, like, they know what he knows about them. They're going to be the ones to come forward and say, Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed me. Then the world is going to find out all of the horrific things
Right.
that you have done. And the world is going to even more significant than that. They're going to find out the way this network operates. And that whole apparatus. No, they're not going to tell on him. They're not going to go to the press with this. Are you kidding me?
You had billionaires offering him their 15-year-old daughter and their 5 friends. Like, they all know about all the perversions and shit. You had, I think it was royalty who said to him, like, oh, congratulations on your fucking, like, slave baby that you just had with your, like, child incubator.
Yeah.
They all fucking knew the shit. They were all in on the shit.
Yeah.
The whole point is they view themselves, when you get enough money or power or you become enough of an elite, they view themselves as genuinely and sincerely above the rules.
Yeah.
The laws don't apply to us. We're a class of our own, you know?
And
that's another reason.
you're not a human the way we're a human.
Correct. And so,
and that's why they would also like explicitly target, you know, poor, vulnerable women as part of the operation.
Yeah, you know, the
Exactly
weird thing
right.
to me, I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this. The weird thing to me is the inclusion in like the billionaire club of the academic elites. I found that interesting.
Yeah.
That, like, so it's not just financial. It's also like
Noam
academic
Chomsky and stuff.
But a lot of these people,
Yeah.
Apart from Chomsky, and maybe even including Chomsky, a lot of these people were totally all in on like eugenics and race science. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And that almost is like the barrier to entry, is like, do you believe in eugenics? Do you believe in race science? Do you believe like we're superior? And then you get welcomed in if you're an academic elite to the club. But what's the funny thing is there's also so many fucking idiots made the cut, like Larry Summers. Larry Summers, the man who's like spectacularly wrong about like every economic thing and like engineered the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession.
Yeah, but
and he's fucking one of the elites.
But you remember, he had scandals about like saying, oh, well, women just aren't really cut out for math and science.
That's right.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
So he let some of that
Out.
viewpoint slip into public view. And, you know, Larry Summers is an idiot, but he's very powerful. I mean, across multiple administrations, helping architect the bailout packages and, you know, the whole financial rescue, all of that, you know, runs through him, continued to be, up until this moment, extremely influential in the Democratic Party. He was, you know, involved with the Center for American Progress. He had to be, you know, kicked out of that
Right.
after the last round of revelations about just how close to Jeffrey Epstein he was. But yeah, the inclusion of the academics is very interesting. It's something I need to actually think more about.
Well, I think Epstein had a fascination with people
Well, he
who
liked
are
to
academic
see
elites.
himself as this great intellectual.
And so he wanted to be in those circles, and he let them embed themselves in his circles, and also got blackmail on them and shit, you know?
Have you guys seen the, I need to dig into this more. I was asking Sagar some about this. Have you guys seen all his connections with crypto and Bitcoin? Like what an early
he was, like,
adopter
allegedly
he was.
really early on.
Early investor in Coinbase. But I see speculation. People are saying that perhaps Bitcoin was like an Israeli op. Which now we know, basically all of like the right-wing ecosystem online is literally an Epstein Israeli Mossad op.
r/poll and stuff.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
the politically incorrect subreddit, which helped birth like Gamergate and MAGA and like all this shit. Now, what's become the Groypers? Funny because the Groypers are fucking defending Jeffrey Epstein, and you got Fuentes selling like the
It's very
quarter zip
interesting,
hoodies.
isn't it?
Yeah, and so in other words, if you have right-wing politics, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, you have been psyoped into it by Jeffrey Epstein in Israel. Congratulations. Congratulations.
By a pedophile
Good job there, fella.
cabal. Good job.
The pedophile, rapist, billionaire cult of sadists has tricked you into believing what you believe. Good job. Good job.
Yeah. But I mean, just Gamergate alone. Like, our politics are all fucking downstream from friggin' Gamergate, you know?
That's true, yeah.
Gamergate, and then Pizzagate comes out of there, and QAnon comes out of there. Like, all this stuff gets seeded from our Paul. And the, you know, guy who started that met with Epstein on that same, that's why people are making that connection. But I think it's entirely believable. And then you had Epstein investing in some, like, white nationalist YouTuber, influencer, or whatever.
JF Gary Epi.
Yeah.
There's a
So-
video of him telling Richard Spencer, full disclosure, Epstein gave me $25,000. And Richard Spencer goes, what? What are you talking about?
Wow.
Full
That's
disclosure, like
He
just
he
casually slipping that in there.
managed to horrify Richard Spencer. It's kind of
Yeah.
amazing. But I mean, listen, this is the thing that I keep coming back to, is all the ways that we as lefties like thought about the world. Like, we had no idea how correct we were.
Oh my God, we were
No
so
idea.
fucking
It's somehow
right.
much worse
It
than I
is.
ever thought that
Like,
it was.
for example, this thing with him, you know, it being very plausible that they seeded all of these right-wing culture wars as just like direct ops. I mean, you know, we've always had the view that the culture war is a way for billionaires to like
Right.
divide and distract from the real centers of power. But I'm not sure I understood it to be in
So
such a
literal.
literal
Yeah.
way of like, we're literally going to plant this QAnon conspiracy theory on this message board to distract from the actual like pedophile conspiracy theory and make it like Trump is the hero and the one who's going to expose, when he is at the heart of this whole fucking thing. I didn't view it in quite such a literal way as is actually laid out when you dig into these emails.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.